Because data science is not only programming and nothing else, right? There is so much. When a crisis like this happens, what's the best way to respond? Even as an individual, people take it for granted that somebody else's advice is really good. In the initial days can be really frustrating, and you may start feeling that I'm not good enough. I think those are more stronger signals probably than education qualifications, in my opinion.
Hello data lovers, so finally back with another amazing podcast for the data scientist, and in today's podcast I will be having a discussion with an very experienced gentleman, and we will be discussing about a very important and you can say a serious topic as well at this moment. As you have seen the title and thumbnail, it is going to be about the impact of recession on the data science jobs and the data science future. So he will be sharing his entire experience because he has worked with multiple hiring partners. He actually knows what companies are expecting from the new data scientist and where we are lacking as a aspiring data scientist. He will share all those important informations with you, that how you can upskill yourself at this moment, what all things you need to cover in the data science, whether companies are hiring at this moment or not, what is the impact of recession on the data science job, and what will be the typical challenges in front of the working professionals and non-CS, non-tech professionals who want to move into the data science domain. And apart from that, a lot of informative topics. So make sure you watch it till the very end. If you are an aspiring data professional, his experience is definitely gonna help you a lot. And obviously don't forget to hit the like button, and also let me know in the comment section your opinion about the impact of recession on the data science job. Alright, so thank you so much Srini for joining me in this podcast, and I know today we are going to discuss about a very interesting thing, and which is revolving around the students problem who are aspiring data scientists. And we all know the tough situation which is going on right now in the industry, so I thought why not to bring someone who is closely observing the gap in the market and what we are learning nowadays. But it would be really great first if you can give your short introduction and anything about your background you want to talk about.
Sure, Shashank. Firstly, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure being here. So I'm Srinivas. I work at Odin School as a director. And in case people don't know Odin School, we help people upskill in the areas of data science and full stack, and help them find their career objectives. Now, I come with about 15 years of overall experience. Most of it, I guess, from 2008 has been in the space of edtech, and I've worked with some of the largest global publishers, worked on building some serious games, again for learning, a lot of platforms. I am passionate about helping people learn, and specifically about seeing the proof of learning. So that's something about me.
Your experience is something, right, which is now even going to help all those aspiring data scientists as well who are watching this video. So Srini, with your efforts, you are trying to empower data science aspirants. Also, you are working with companies like closely to understand their requirements when it comes to hire new data scientists, right? So what does it take to become a skilled data scientist in the modern tech industry? Because if we go back to 4 or 5 years, right, so there was, or there could have been a different path, but nowadays the industry is moving so fast, skills, right, we need to be pretty adaptive, companies' requirements are getting changed. So according to your observation, what does it take to become a good data scientist nowadays?
Sure, Shashank. So I'll probably just broaden it a little bit, and cover the 3 broad categories of roles that are there in the space of data science. So firstly, I'll talk about the data engineering space. Probably that's where I see highest number of requirements coming in. So I guess on the hard skills part, you have these database skills, understanding of data warehouses, exposure to how you build and orchestrate these data pipelines. And it definitely helps having some understanding or exposure to some cloud technologies. Could be Snowflake, Azure Data Factory, or even AWS Glue is something that's quite common these days. So again, not everything, but some exposure to one of these would definitely help. Now, on the soft skills side, I think it's really helpful if they understand what is machine learning, what do these algorithms are really about, and are able to sensitively handle data, and towards that even some exposure to statistics as a soft skill would definitely help. So that's what I would put in the first bucket of data engineering. Second, let me talk about the data analytics or the BI space. Here I think clearly Power BI is where we see more opportunities, and maybe some amount in Tableau. And I see hard skills like ability to tell stories, or the storytelling aspect, the ability to even communicate well with stakeholders, because a lot of times you're probably stuck in terms of getting data or presenting your insights. I think that really goes a long way. And on the soft skills aspect, I would say it's probably more about a little bit of user experience, sense of colors, shapes, sizes, all of that. I think that really helps in dashboarding and all of that. Now the third category, I think that's the true data science space, or machine learning, deep learning, whatever you want to categorize that as well. I think a solid understanding of or expertise in statistics, Python, SQL is definitely required. In addition, I think they should be really comfortable with one library or framework out there. So it's okay if they only know scikit-learn, but good if they also know PyTorch or something else. PyTorch clearly is dominating the space. But again, on the soft skills side here, I would say an ability to really draw inferences, or solid comfort with understanding data, and in addition to that, a comfort with a certain domain and the ability to understand the problems intricate to that domain. I haven't mentioned domain in the other two roles as much, even though it's required in the data analytics space also, but I think in data scientist role it becomes extremely critical, and I see that as the biggest differentiator.
So thanks for mentioning all these important skills. I know this is actually not coming from your side, this is coming from the company's side itself, that what they need from the students. So that's why it is really important. And you guys can also share your opinion in the comment section. What do you feel that, like, what these companies are demanding nowadays? If you have your own interview experiences, you can put down those skill sets in the comment section. It will be helpful for other people. The internet is definitely full of data related content, right? We all know we can find wide range of the content, right, in the form of YouTube videos, articles, right, Medium blogs. Still 90% of aspiring data scientists feel lost in the ocean of this content. And even personally, as a data engineer, this happened with me when I was even trying to move into this domain. Okay, what to learn, right? This is the first question, right? So everybody feels lost. So as a fresher, what is actually wrong with our approach? As a result, maximum aspiring data scientists quit this journey in between. I have seen it. They started with full passion. Okay, I want to become a data scientist, this and that. But after just even a month, if they move into this direction, they'll completely quit it. So what's actually wrong with our approach?
Sure. Again, I won't say what is wrong, but probably I can shed some light on what I have seen really helping people, including myself. And I would probably draw on all the experience I have had over the years with learning in general. So first thing is, I think, people take it for granted that somebody else's advice is really good. And I would probably put my own advice in that bucket. Don't just take it on the face of it. So for example, a strong starting point would be to try and make a mental map of whatever you're trying to learn. So in case of data science, can you kind of list down what are the broad skills that you see or hear very commonly? What is it that's repeating across all of the articles, videos, or whatever conversations you're having? And what are the other expectations or responsibilities that you hear about? And start making a small mind map with it. Again, mind map could be a little technical word, but you could just put it in your own little picture. And with that, what happens is you start feeling a little familiar with the whole subject. You feel a little confident that, I know some are buzzwords, some are actually really required, and you can see that difference. And it may not happen in the first go. On day one, you won't have anything to put on a paper, but just start with it and go on building on it. And over time, you will see that, that is something that is really your personal view of things. It's not somebody else's view of things, your view of things, and you would really appreciate the amount of I would say confidence and comfort you have built around a new area like data science. So that's the first advice I have, probably as part of it. The second one is more around, and I think it's a very common advice that everybody gives about, being hands-on, working on a lot of projects. I would only add one twist to that. Because you have mentioned, people are mostly starting out and are, trying out for the first time.
Yeah.
It's better to start with somebody else's solution to a certain problem. So you could have a video or a book or something, whatever you come across. Pick that and try and, just, repeat the whole thing. Even in that, you will find that you will make a lot of mistakes. Could be, something as silly as spelling errors or missing out on some syntax. These are things that actually, derail people's progress is what I have seen. So the part about, quitting and all that is all a result of frustration that you're not able to make progress. So one tip or, whatever I can give to begin with when people are starting out is just copy it, because even if you're stuck, you have a reference to kind of go back and check and compare and figure it out.
Right.
Without that, this journey in the initial days can be really frustrating, and you may start feeling that I'm not good enough, while everybody would have gone through the same kind of journey. Just that those people who are kind of really stuck to it and are continuing it are the people who you see in the field.
Right.
But everybody else who gave up are no longer in the kind of reckoning. So those are the two pieces of advice I probably would give.
I think this is good, and that will be a good confidence booster for the audience as well, because our approach and mindset is something, right, which is key of success for anything, right? Whatever new you start or whatever new initiative you take, if you are not following the right direction or you are not preparing your own roadmap, obviously you'll feel lost. And the best advice I like, when we try to listen multiple advices from multiple directions, then that is the time it creates most of the chaos, right? So listen to yourself, right? What do you like? What do you enjoy? Just don't start data science because of the reason somebody else in your circle has started and they are talking about, this is the sexiest job of this era. So that's really wonderful. Like, we all know that companies are laying off, and I know this is the serious topic now which we are going to start. And that layoff is not happening in 50s or 100, it is just happening in 1,000, 10,000. We have saw the examples of like all big tech firms, Twitter, Meta, Amazon, right? And everybody's talking about the recession. So because of the reason, I've been receiving a lot of queries that whether data science is still the sexiest job in the industry. Do companies want to hire new data scientists? What is the state of data science job in the market based on the current situation? I know it could be a tough answer, right? But I definitely want to know your opinion, because you are definitely very close in the industry by looking at the stats of how students are going with your curriculums and cracking the company. So how things are happening on that end?
Sure, Shashank. And, I wouldn't really, try and act as if I can predict things and all that. But for a difficult problem like this that is really staring at us, it's probably good to go back and look at the fundamentals of what really causes these kind of problems and how do these things really play out. So I would even, go back to 2008 when we had something similar, really, shaking the whole space. But one thing is very clear. So whenever crisis like this kind of comes in, businesses react in a certain kind of a rhythm. So they go back and look at, how can I be more competitive? How can I start looking at, higher profitability, cut, areas which are not really growing. And they genuinely want to be more competitive because probably people are fighting for the same kind of market and, trying to increase their market share in the limited market that exists. So how do they actually go about that?
Yeah.
I think there is no better way than going more data driven. So even businesses who haven't done it already, I think they will open their eyes and, really take steps if required, push themselves harder than before. So from that point of view, I think data science as a space, I think it should only, have brighter opportunities. But second thing is basically, when a crisis like this happens, what's the best way to respond? Even as an individual, I think it is better that we become more competitive and try to grab whatever opportunities exist. And the best way to stay competitive is to continuously learn and upskill yourself. So probably these are the two sides of the same coin probably I would look at, and that's how I really see it. Again, I don't want to take predictions or guesswork probably is not the right thing here, but what should work in this kind of a situation is probably where I would look at.
Right, I truly agree with that point, right? We shouldn't make any prediction because this is something which will keep on coming, right? This kind of recession crisis comes like every decade, right? This will be there because kind of bubble burst or something, and this time it is happening with the tech industry, right? That's the saddest part, but I can definitely understand how this would feel to anyone who is impacted by layoff, right? We can totally understand the situation, but this is the time where we need to stay strong, right? We can work on ourselves what best we can try according to the industry. And as Srini also mentioned, companies will go a lot in the data driven fashion because they want to compete with others to be more profitable, and that is the point where new opportunities related to data fields will come, be data engineering, data science, analyst. So opportunities are there. It's not like companies has stopped hiring, just a slow, you can say, process, but it will definitely come up with a full bang just after a few months. So just stay strong. Srini, since you are in touch with many hiring partners, so what do they actually need from aspiring data scientists? Is it like someone who has a good grasp on the required skill sets, or someone who has built something realistic, real world projects? Because this is how we approach in the interviews, right? Even when I remember my college days, I was too much enthusiastic to cover, okay, theoretically how many things I can cover, be it my CS fundamentals, okay, I should be good in the programming part, and these stuff. In my college I didn't work on something realistic, still companies hired me. So now when we work in the industry, we are a working professional, how this thing will look like, because the company requirement is specifically what do they actually want from a data scientist, the accurate skills only, or something who has something built realistic.
Right. So I would say it's a little bit of a balance between the two.
Okay.
And again, I won't go into the list of skills and all because we've already spoken about it. But you always look at what is really core to the kind of role that you're getting into, and that is one area. Even if it is a very limited number of skills that you put on your profile, it's important to be really thorough with those. And you really want to give an impression that, even though it's one skill I come with, I'm really good with that. And that is something that gives an impression to the hiring company that you are somebody who is high on the learning quotient or learnability quotient, probably, if I may. Now, when someone sees that kind of a signal, they would understand that, if this person is genuinely good with even one skill, I can confidently go ahead because I can train this person on other skills that I need. What I really see, people trying to do is basically, in an objective, thing that, they want to try to please people or, make sure that they're able to kind of cater to a higher number of jobs. They try to stuff it up with more skills, or they try to stretch their own bandwidth or spread it thin, the bandwidth across too many things, and they don't really give that signal that, I'm really, really good with one thing. So I think that is one important thing. The second part is probably, on the projects part, again, it's important that you give that confidence that on this scale, you can see the kind of work I have done. So I have gone out of the way when it comes to collecting data, or I've gone out of the way to understand the domain a little deeper. So it's not necessarily about the skills alone when it comes to projects. It's also about how you're going about understanding the problem itself. So have you spent sufficient amount of time with the problem itself to understand it deeply enough to apply solutions? Because not everything needs to be solved in a technical way, right? So you can't just be, going with a hard mindset that, I'll start thinking about which algorithm will work here or which kind of a technology I'll put here. That's not necessarily the first step. And that's the kind of clarity you want to give to people, that this is the kind of homework I have done before I even started attempting the problem. So probably I think these two are things that I think are important from their point of view.
Yep, cool. I think the balanced approach would work a lot, right? You have to have focus on your fundamentals. Along with that, you need to build something to stand out from the crowd, because competition is very high. If there are 1,000 applicants, you need to be stand out from all those people so that your chances are very high to get hired. Awesome. So Srini, the follow-up question, like while hiring data scientist candidates, right, do companies look for master's degree kind of background or any specific degree or expertise in mathematics? Because this is a very common question, right? I have received a lot of freshers that sir, should we go for masters and then look for data science, because companies are not giving opportunities, they are trying to hire experienced people, they are asking for master's degrees, they want mathematics pro candidates. So would you like to just talk about these myths, if they are the myths?
Sure. I think firstly, if somebody already has these qualifications, so no need to feel bad about it. That definitely helps.
Right.
But I don't think, or I haven't seen too many people reject people just because they don't have these. In fact, what I see is only in some limited cases they were really specific about people coming from a computer science background. But in most cases, they look at these other things that I have mentioned. So how comfortable are these people in terms of learning data science in general? So if you can send that signal that I'm really good in terms of learning. Secondly, if you have put in that kind of effort working on projects and showing that signal again, have a solid GitHub profile or Kaggle profile, whatever you can come with. I think those are more stronger signals probably than education qualifications, in my opinion.
Cool.
And again, my opinion is again driven from what I have seen with these companies.
If you look at the data science as a specific field, I don't think so companies are putting that restriction that you should have a mathematics degree or master's degree. And even as I said, like Srini said, if you have it, that's good, right? It will add some advantage, so don't feel bad about it. You have the master's degree. Nowadays, majority of people looking for a career transition in a data science domain. So according to you, what is the main challenge in front of those people who want to make a career transition into data science from a non-tech or non-CS profile or already working professionals? Also, how can they overcome those challenges? Because when you are in a profession, right, then this transition gonna be difficult. And if you belong to a non-tech, non-CS profile, then obviously this is going to be little bit difficult and challenging. So I want to understand those challenges, because you have observed those things closely in the ordinary schools. Lots of students would be from those kind of backgrounds. So how these challenges even got overcame?
Sure, Shashank, and I see this very often myself at Odin School. So I think it's fundamentally a mental block in the same person who is really thinking about this. So just to give an analogy, imagine somebody who grew up mostly from in a rural place going to a big city for the first time. So they start really feeling a little uncomfortable and all that, assuming that people are probably looking at me, they're judging me and all that. Honestly, we have seen so many success stories right at Odin School of people transforming from totally odd profiles, somebody working in a college, somebody coming from a sales background, some really strange areas which you don't necessarily relate to data science, making transition into some really good companies. And I think the only difference between them and those who haven't really been able to do that is that ability to let go of that mental block. So I don't think there is anything very different just because somebody comes from a CS background, because data science is not only programming and nothing else, right? There is so much more to data science than programming alone. Of course, having some comfort with programming definitely helps, but that is like just the starting point. And I think with some hard work people can easily overcome that. The bigger thing to overcome is probably that mental block. So yeah, that's probably how I would say that.
Yeah, I think that is true. That mentality is something which might act like a blocker, but yeah, if your mindset is clear, you are enthusiastic enough to approach that particular problem, then I don't think so you will face any challenge. So that's true. I mean, I completely agree with this point, and that's a suggestion from my side as well. Don't think about those kind of background related things. Everything, like even just think about that scenario when somebody goes into the CS stream, right? Before that, somebody would have been coming from a science background, commerce background, but now they have opted for engineering. They try to learn it. So if you are trying to make this kind of transition, just treat yourself as a student who is just trying to explore a new field. That's how you can deal with this one. We have talked about everything, including the students' problem, recession, the solutions, skills, everything. So any final golden advices from your side to all aspiring data scientists, or you can say words of wisdom, because you are definitely highly experienced, so your advice definitely gonna help them.
So I don't know whether to call it golden or something, but definitely something that I've been hearing from some really top industry leaders as well. So it's something like, what we have seen during the 80s and 90s, the way computers came in and really took over our lives, right? So you compare how our lives were during those times versus how our lives are today. We are so tech driven, and all this was probably because of that big change that happened once computers became really affordable and they started penetrating every aspect of our lives. I think it was a very fundamental shift, and only people who have seen both sides can actually relate to that. And something as fundamental is happening even with data today. So the way we probably go about conducting ourselves, our businesses, everything is about to change. I think it's already happening, but probably it's going to be more perceivable in the next few years, with how data is really transforming just the way we live more than anything else. So I think that naturally opens up so many opportunities, and anybody who wants to be a part of it can be a part of it, but others will surely watch this transition, and they may wonder, why didn't I try and be a part of it. So that's probably how I would see that.
Super amazing, Srini. I think I really enjoy talking to you. The experience, I know you are highly experienced. I am even just having a very small experience in the industry, but your experience is something I learned a lot. Your perspective and the way you have guided aspiring data scientists how they should proceed, it would be really helpful for them. And again, feel free to put your queries, anything you have right further you want to know, please put it in the comment section. We will have another discussion so that your queries, your doubts are resolved. If you have any opinion, feel free to put it in the comment section. And obviously you can check out the upcoming boot camps, data science boot camps by Odin School. Link will be provided in the description. And yep, hit the like button so that this amazing conversation can reach to maximum number of people. And thank you so much, Srini, from my side and from the audience side. This was really fantastic. I loved it.
Thanks for the kind words, Shashank. It was wonderful talking to you, and I hope your audience gets some benefit out of it.
So that's what I had for you guys in this podcast. I'm pretty sure you would have enjoyed it till the very end. If yes, if you find it informative, you loved it, make sure to hit the like button. Also subscribe to the channel and press the notification icon so that you are updated with all my new videos. I will see you guys in the next week with another amazing stuff. Till then, just keep exploring data.